Yes. All right. Hello. So I just want to thank people for watching this video. I am so excited to give some information around worker rights. My name is Taylor, and I am the Program and Development Manager at LGBTQ Allyship. And I am so grateful to have Charlene Wong here um, from United Indians of All Tribes, working with me to make sure that LGBTQIA and Indigenous workers are getting information to make sure that they know their rights and they can access other opportunities further if they need to know if their rights have been violated, so that they can build power amongst themselves and each other and create communities, because we know that as allies, we have to work together. So if you want to learn more about either organization, you can always go to allyship.org or, Charlene?
Oh, to www sorry, the www.unitedindians.org.
All right. And so today we are talking about worker rights. And in our information, we are going to cover a couple of worker rights laws and how to report a violation. And as always, a reminder, LGBTQ allyship builds power among LGBTQ communities and allies throughout Washington towards economic and housing justice around racial and equity justice also. And we are interested, if you are interested in working with allyship to fight for economic and housing justice for queers and trans and non-binary communities, please let us know via email at info@allyship.org. We also have places where you can be part of our committee, Worker Rights Committee. And if you're interested in joining, please let me know, Taylor at allyship.org. And before we get started, I'm also going to let Charlene to please give folks a little bit about your organization and yourself.
Okay. Right. So what Taylor was saying, that my name is Shirley Wong, and I am the outreach specialist here at United Indians Foundation. I've been doing this job for a couple of years now, and I feel that this is something that I was kind of born to do. I like helping people. I like giving information out and just educating people about things they might not know about. So this is just like the right fit for me. Our organization does wraparound services. Not only do we do workforce, um, not only do we do workforce information service. Not only do we help with the workforce part of it, there's also like a childcare portion of our programs. There's also a homeless prevention. There's also like our strong fathers. So there's a bunch of different kind of programs that help with natives, especially urban natives in our area. I just wanted to give briefly, since we are on Duwamish lands, we can do any acknowledgement. So I would just like to acknowledge that we are on traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish people, past and present, and honor and with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish tribe. So
Thank you. And if you would like to learn more about the Duwamish tribe, please make sure that you go to the duwamish.org and support them. They are having, right now, they have a sign a petition for federal recognition or to consider paying rent. You can also visit them because we are on the Duwamish land. We should be paying rent, and I am paying a small portion. Any portion helps, and please just take a moment to look at their website because they are really got some amazing projects going on, and being part of that as people that are living on their land is always beneficial. So thank you for that acknowledgement. So we will dive right in to um, our first labor law, and that is going to be, well, let me just first say, sorry, labor standards are important to LGBTQ workers, and this is why. So hiring challenges, both LGBTQIA community and indigenous communities and immigrants, they all do have hiring challenges. And that is specifically in the LGBTQIA, 21% of employees that are LGBTQIA report having been discriminated against in the hiring, promotion, and pay. And indigenous workers are lacking uh, retention. Is that right? The retention or
Yes,
within work growth?
yes, because currently there's a worker shortage happening, not just with indigenous, and there's just a worker shortage everywhere. And so it's been really rough to even for it's really rough for native and indigenous people to even get good quality jobs, because a lot of the jobs have been in the service area, which has been hit the hardest. And a
Yeah,
lot of the highest number of service jobs are being held by native and indigenous people.
exactly. And so, and then therefore they're lacking those. And so if we're talking about 21% of the LGBTQIA having reported this, we know that the indigenous community is also a smaller portion of that workforce. And so, and we know that there's a higher proportion of the discrimination in that workforce because they are a smaller proportion, if that all makes sense. The other, number two, LGBTQ and BIPOC community members in Seattle report living paycheck to paycheck. And this is true for Indigenous communities too. And it is really difficult when you're working in Seattle. You may be getting that minimum wage, which is, above most places in Washington State if you're working in Seattle. But our prices for rentals and places to live are extraordinary. I can't, I don't even know if that's the right word, but I know it's huge. And our paychecks are predominantly going to our rent. So therefore, food, gas to get there, transportation, we're living paycheck to paycheck. So I wanted to point those out, and that's why labor rights standards are important for things like minimum wage increase, wage theft, reporting wage theft, and fair chance ordinance. So let's get into some of these. So fair chance ordinance, this is a regulate. What is it? First of all, regulates the use of criminal history in employment decisions and reduces racial disparity in criminal justice system and strengthens our community. And what does that mean? Well, it means that job ads cannot exclude applicants with convictions or arrest records. They prohibit criminal background checks and criminal history questions on the job application until after your employer has conducted checks and criminal history um, checks. I'm sorry, remove, back up for a second, Taylor. Until after the employer conducts an initial screening and eliminates unqualified applicants. So if you just don't have the skills for that job, then you've become unqualified for that position, not because you have a criminal history of any sort. And then it requires employers to have a legitimate business reason to deny a job based on the conviction of the record. So after they've gone through the interview process and then they've talked with you and they find out that you have that conviction on a conviction record, and they ask you about it. Say you are applying for, I don't know, I'm just going to pull something out of my head, applying for like security, and you have on your criminal record that you're doing security for a bank, but you have theft as a or fraud as one of your convictions. That would make it so that they would not consider hiring you because they're a bank and you're doing security work in a place where you've done fraud. So that might not be the best fit for you. But it does require an opportunity for an applicant or an employee to explain or correct the criminal history information. So you do have a say also about what happened. Maybe it was when you were a kid and this is still showing up. Maybe it was a situation where you had dire urgencies and you get to show up for this information. So this is a way of not having it on the initial application. It's after they say, you're very qualified, we want to know more. And then we're going to look into a criminal, do a criminal investigation because this job has XYZ requirements. And that's when you get to either ask questions or clear your name, make corrections, or they may be able to deny you due to the sensitivity. So that is that part. If you have more questions about that, you can always message myself or Charlie. So I keep saying your name wrong, I feel like.
No, it's Charlene.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just said something though.
Oh, I was on mute. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so you can send me an email directly at swong@unitedindians.org. I can go ahead and if you have any other questions, I will definitely get back to you as soon as I
Yeah.
can. So,
And so the next one is wage theft. I'm going to let you take that one.
okay. So wage theft and provides protections against wage theft by establishing basic requirements for payment of wage and tips within the city limits. So with wage theft, this is so that you can get paid accordingly, that you're going to be paid for all hours worked, so that you're not going to be working, so that you don't work for any so you will so you get paid for all, sorry, work for all your hours that get paid and not like work for free, basically, like work for like an extra like 10 minutes, or if your boss asks you to work another extra 10 minutes or 15 minutes. No, that's called wage theft because that's money that's due to you because you're currently working, you're on the clock. So you don't want to be giving up your money like that. And so this is one of the one of the higher ordinances that I hear about that people are going through and they don't even know about it. Like making sure that you get paid all of your vacation time, making sure that you get paid for all of your sick time, things like that. So, and I really make sure that when I talk to my participants, that I make sure that they look at their paycheck and they make sure that they account for all of the hours worked, and just make sure that I teach them how to read the paycheck. Sometimes people don't know how to read the paycheck, and where the hours belong, where your sick time belongs, where your vacation time belongs, things like that. So I feel like this is something that we all need to learn, and we all need to make sure that this doesn't happen to us.
Yeah, and it's true too that in looking at your paycheck, one of the things that you could be looking for too is, are you being misclassified? That's an area where if you're an independent being misclassified as an independent contractor, that is a type of wage theft. Say you're hired and you're supposed to be hourly and they put you under an hourly but under independent contractor. That means they're trying to not pay for holiday, sick leave, and or insurance, and that is and you were told you were being hired hourly and you were going to get all those, you want to check your paycheck for that. Also, this is within the city of Seattle, so we want to make sure that you understand that wage theft in the city of Seattle this ordinance applies to Seattle. It's not a statewide. So those that are watching that are statewide, this doesn't pertain to statewide.
But it's also just good to know that, just make sure that, just have this in the back of your mind and just think about the right hours.
Right. Yeah, and don't, if you're being, if you're clocked off and then somebody at your supervisor says something similar to what was just said, like, hey, the trash didn't get taken out, and can you mop up this area after you take out the trash, but you've clocked out, you make sure you clock back in. And if they say, oh no, don't worry about it, it's only going to take you a couple of minutes, it could take 15-20 minutes. That's 15-20 minutes that you aren't being paid. That is wage theft. So just want to emphasize wage theft because it's important, because like Charlene was saying, it is the most filed complaints. And we're going to talk about filed complaints, and I'm going to give you some statistics about that. So moving on to that, speaking of the importance of filing a complaint, this is why. Fair chance employment, workers that were affected in 2021, only 2 were affected, but they received $1,000, $1,113 back for not being, I don't know what the circumstance was, but that is the report from King County. I'm sorry, not King County, Seattle labor rights. And then wage theft. And here's the difference. It's important to report the fair chance employment, but look at wage theft. 2021 was reported, 468 workers have been affected by wage theft. And in that, I don't even know how to say this number, $3,375,481 have been, or not thousand, yeah, but you see it, that's how much money went back to 468 people, not individually, of course, spread out. So it is important to file for complaints in Seattle, and you want to go to the Seattle Office of Labor Standards if you feel that your rights have been violated. You can report it, you can do it anonymously, you can say your name, all that. If you want to report it anonymously, you do need to let them know ahead of time. That's an important piece to know. And you can go to their website and apply. You'll still have to give your name, but it is anonymous, and you can do it on their website and file it there, or you can give them a call, or you can go in person. They've opened up their facilities now, so you can go in person. You will need to let someone know what the issue is, where you work, and if say it's not just one thing that you've noticed, say it's wage theft and you're not getting paid minimum wage. They might be, because a lot of these things do have multiple. So 468 people reported this, but they in the wage theft, but they might have multiple complaints, such as secured scheduling. That might be another one that was combined with wage theft. And once you report it, you'll want to make sure that you keep a written records of what your issue is. Maybe your colleagues, coworkers have also have these complaints. And once you file the complaint, it'll be reviewed for the next steps. And then you will, the next steps, there's all these steps that go into it, and it can take a while. And you can continue working there, or you can choose to leave. But the investigation, once it's in play, it'll keep being investigated whether you stay there or not, and you may be reimbursed later. So last year, like I said, these two laws we spoke about, this was the outcome in 2021. And this is also a reminder to remind you that you're not the only person. You're not the only one that's being affected. And when you file a complaint, you may be stepping up and informing about your rights that somebody else may not be able to do. They may not feel comfortable or any of that. But if you start the motion, it's the process, um, the labor of standards will help you through that process. And they are really nice people. We know who they are. So you won't be doing it just for yourself. You'll also be doing it for your colleagues. All right. So I'm talking a lot. I feel like I'm talking a lot, but we're going to move on. If you were here, questions, again, please let us know if you have questions. You can email either one of us. We've given you that information, and please be sure to connect with us if you feel that your uh, rights have been violated, your worker rights have been violated. It's really important to report those. We will help you through that process to get you to the resources that you need to make sure that you are being taken care of. That's what we're here for. That's why we do this wonderful job. Um,
Yes,
so
I'm sorry. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was gonna say, I've met the intakes and I've been met the investigators, and they're very knowledgeable and they're very understanding, and they will walk you through whatever you need, the steps that you want to go through, like whether or not you just want to like an inquiry or if you want to move further. It just depends on you. It just depends on what you feel comfortable with, how you want to proceed. And I mean, just so that you can be actually heard. I mean, that's what, so please feel free to contact us, via email, or you can even call me. I just want to let you know that I'm here and Taylor's here, and we're here for you.
Yes, agreed. All right, so we're going to do our, selfish pitches because it's our time. So I first want to thank people for watching this video. And if you have any questions, like we've said multiple times, please message us, email us, call us. We're on the web. It's easy to find us. Um, and if you want to join allyship in any of our worker rights or renter rights, you can join one of our committees. We have committees that meet monthly, and you are the voice for allyship. And then I wanted to do two updates. Please join LGBTQ allyship in taking the pledge. And this is the US Trans Survey. And I put this here as a reminder. It happens this summer. Commit to taking the pledge, doing the survey. We are pledging to support people and making sure that they take the survey. This is open to trans community, non-binary, two-spirit, and from the ages of 16 and up. So we want, and this is national, this is not, or the US, this isn't just Washington. We want to make sure that everybody that identifies as trans, non-binary, two-spirit, and all, please, 16 through up, please fill out the survey. It is their way of making sure that we are seen and heard. As a non-binary person, I am taking the pledge to do the survey. So please join us and do that. We will give lots of information out about that. Again, my email is Taylor@allyship if you have any questions. And then I will let you talk about yours.
All right. So what many people might not know is that United Indians of all tribes, we have a radio station, which is cool. One of the slogans is indigenize the airwaves, and so I thought that was super cool that during they play different types of indigenous music, from like jazz to hip hop to a little bit of rock to a little bit of like folk music, or what
Even
like a
saw
whole.
metal on there. I was like, whoa.
Right. I was listening, and so I usually listen in like during like the afternoon times, and so if they play hip hop, like the hip hop, I'm like, what? And it's actually pretty cool. It's one of, I believe it's one of the only, if or one of the few, I'm not quite sure, but it's one of the few native run radio stations in all of the United States. So this is something that's, super cool. It's streaming online only right now. It's not on the dial. So you can just go to daybreakstarradio.com. You can go listen to different interviews that they've had. There's different people at different times, like DJs, and so I feel like this is totally awesome. I am so proud of this. And you might even hear me. I'm on the radio there as a public service announcement for the city for the Office of Labor Standards Ordinances. So you might hear me popping in there. So I believe I've done 10 PSA so far. I'm going to do another 4 more depending on my schedule. So I just want to let you know, please come and listen to the radio station. Just go and check it out. Like, go ahead and tell all your friends about it, because it's really cool music. I mean, like sometimes like some of the music, it just like, it's so calming. It's just, I just like it a lot. I just like listening to it because they play so many different types of music, and it's so cool. This was not just stuck on one genre. So I'm really excited about that. And just
Yeah,
a quick plug.
go ahead.
Yes. Just a quick plug. I have my training coming up on May 26th from 4 to, that's a Thursday, from 4 to 4:30. I'm going to be doing my ordinance training, my fair chance employment and paid sick and safe time. So come check it out.
Check it out. And then we also are doing our renters' rights workshop on May 18th next week from 5 to 6. It's similar to this, and I hope that you can be there. And the tenant law center will be there, and we'll be talking about what is it, pay or vacate, and the rules around that. So I just want to thank everybody and thank you for being here. Thank United Indians of all tribes for their great work, and in solidarity, we want to make sure that worker rights are being seen, heard, and known. So thank you all, and till then, have a wonderful rest of the month.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me
Hold on
speak.
one second.